Ah, there you are. Come on now. Pull that blanket right up to your chin. Let your head sink into that pillow. All the way down. Yes. Just like that. Grandpa is here. And tonight Grandpa wants to tell you something remarkable. Not a fairy tale. Not a made-up story. Something that really happened. Right here in the world you live in. In your lifetime. Perhaps even before you were born. It is the story of two young men. In a small rented room. With a borrowed computer. And an idea so simple that almost everyone who heard it at first said, "That will never work." And those two young men built something that now lives in almost every home, in almost every pocket, in almost every country on this whole wide earth. You have almost certainly used it today, little one. It is called Google. G-L-E. Even the name is soft and round and friendly. Like a word a child might make up. Like something that sounds exactly like what it is. A little playful. A little curious. Always looking for something. And tonight, Grandpa is going to tell you how it began. How it almost ended before it started. And how it quietly became the most remarkable company the modern world has ever produced. But first, little one, let us make sure you are truly comfortable. Feel the weight of your arms. Let them fall heavy beside you, like two ropes dropped to the ground. Nothing holding them up anymore. Feel the warmth of the blanket. That small, reliable warmth. That has been there every night for as long as you can remember. And let your breathing slow. Just a little. In. And out. Slow as a tide. Easy as a cloud. Good. Now come with Grandpa. All the way to a university in California. In the middle of the 1990s. When the world was just beginning to discover something extraordinary called the Internet. In those early days of the Internet, little one, the World Wide Web was a magnificent chaos. Imagine a library, the largest library ever built, stretching further than you could walk in a week, full of every kind of book and document and map and letter. Millions and millions of them. But no catalog. No numbering system. No librarian to ask. Just books. Piled everywhere. In no particular order. With no way to find anything. That was the early Internet. Beautiful. Enormous. Almost completely impossible to navigate. And into this enormous chaotic library walked two young men. One was named Larry Page. The other was Sergey Brin. Larry was the son of a computer science professor who grew up with computers the way most children grow up with toys. Curious, always taking things apart, always wanting to know how things connected. Sergey had been born in a different country entirely, and his family had moved to America when he was small, carrying little but an extraordinary love of learning. He was the kind of boy who never stopped asking questions, even when the questions were inconvenient, especially then. They met at Stanford University. Stanford, little one, is a place in California where the sun is warm and the thinking is intense, and the air seems to carry the particular electricity of people who believe they can change things. At first, Sergey and Larry did not like each other very much. Ha. They argued about almost everything. Both of them had strong opinions. Both of them were absolutely certain they were right. But here is the thing about two very clever people who argue about everything. Sometimes, if you put them in a room long enough, they stop arguing and start building. And that is exactly what happened. Larry had an idea. Not a small one. Not a tidy one. A wild, sprawling, almost impossibly ambitious idea. He noticed something about the internet that other people had not quite seen yet. He noticed that when one web page linked to another, it was a kind of recommendation, a vote, a page that many other pages linked to was probably more important than a page that nobody linked to. Just like a book that many other scholars reference is probably more valuable than a book nobody reads. And Larry thought, what if you could count all those votes? What if you could map the whole web like a great web of connections and find the pages that were most trusted, most referenced, most worth finding? It sounds simple now, little one, but at the time, it was a thought that barely anyone had thought before. He called his idea PageRank, named partly after himself, and partly after the idea of ranking pages. Page, rank, and he and Sergey began to build it in a small university room on computers they had borrowed or cobbled together, running cables along the floor, drinking endless cups of coffee, working through nights that turned into mornings, neither of them quite able to stop, because the idea was too exciting to let sleep win. Ha. Though for you, little one, sleep is winning tonight, and that is a very good thing indeed. The little search engine they built worked. It worked so well that the university computers it was running on started to slow down because people kept using it. More and more people. Word spread through Stanford the way good things always spread. Quietly at first. And then all at once. Larry and Sergey needed to leave the university. They needed their own space. Their own computers. Their own everything. But they had almost no money. So they did what so many remarkable American stories begin with. They found a garage. A garage in a town called Menlo Park, belonging to a woman named Susan, who rented it to them for a modest amount, and who would later become one of Google's most important people herself. The garage was not glamorous. There was a washing machine in the corner. The floor was cold. The ceiling was low. The light was the kind that made everything look a little yellow. But inside that garage, something was growing. Something that would one day be used by almost every person on Earth who wanted to find something, anything, in the great enormous library of the world. They named their company Google. The name came from a mathematical word, Google, which means a 1 followed by 100 zeros. An almost incomprehensibly large number. They chose it because they wanted to organize an almost incomprehensibly large amount of information. And it suited them. Big thinking from a very small garage. Are you still with me, little one? Let your eyes be soft behind those lids. Let your whole face go smooth and easy. The story is carrying you now. You just float. In those early days, Google had one job. Just one. Find things. When you typed a question into Google, it searched through its enormous catalog of the web and brought back the best answers it could find, in the order of most useful to least. That sounds ordinary now. We are so used to it. But at the time, it felt like a small miracle. Imagine asking any question you could think of, and receiving a calm, organized, helpful answer in less than a second. Questions people had always had, but never quite known who to ask. How do you say thank you in Japanese? What does a particular bird sound like? How far away is the moon? What was the name of that film with the dog? All of it. Answered. Quietly. Instantly. Like having the world's most patient librarian. Available at any hour. For any question. Without ever making you feel foolish for asking. People fell in love with it. Not dramatically, not with fanfare, just quietly. The way you fall in love with a very useful and kind thing, by using it every day, until one morning you realize you cannot quite imagine how you managed without it. The word Google became a verb. Just Google it, people would say, as if this one word now contained every answer, every piece of information, every question humanity had ever wanted answered. Larry and Sergey had built something that quietly made the world less confusing. And people were very, very grateful. Google grew the way all truly good things grow. Steadily, patiently, without too much fuss. More people joined. Clever people. People who believed in what was being built. They moved out of the garage into a proper office. And the office had something unusual about it. It was designed to feel like a place where people wanted to be. Not a gray room of desks and fluorescent lights, but a place with color and light and spaces to think, and spaces to rest, and spaces to eat together. Because Larry and Sergey believed something that many companies in those days did not quite believe. They believed that happy people think better. That when people feel cared for, when they are not exhausted and overworked and anxious, they come up with better ideas. They solve harder problems. They treat each other with more kindness. And the company that treats people well gets better work from them, not because they are forced, but because they want to give it. This belief, little one, sounds simple, but it changed how many companies in the world were run, because Google showed it worked. More and more people use Google every day. More and more questions were asked. More and more answers were given. And Google kept getting better at finding them. Learning from each search. Understanding what people really wanted when they typed their questions. Learning the difference between what someone said and what they truly meant. That is a very human thing to try to understand, little one. What someone truly means. And Google worked on it every day for years and years and years, getting a little better each time, like a very patient and attentive student who never stops learning. Let your breathing find its own rhythm now, little one. Slow and easy, like a tide that knows exactly what it is doing. But Google did not stop at searching. That was only the beginning. Because Larry and Sergey had made a promise to themselves. A big promise. Almost an impossible promise. They said, "We want to organize all the world's information and make it useful for everyone." All of it. Not just some. All. And so they began to build more things. They built a way to see maps of any place on Earth. From the street where you grew up, to the mountains you have never visited, to the quiet ocean floor that no living person has ever seen. They built a way to send letters instantly to anyone anywhere in the world, without a stamp or an envelope or a trip to the post box. They helped build a phone that carried Google in your pocket, so the enormous library was always with you, in your hand, on the bus, in a waiting room, in a foreign country where you did not know the language. They built a way to watch videos from every corner of the world. A place called YouTube, where a fisherman in a small village could share his morning with someone on the other side of the planet. Each of these things, little one, was built on the same original idea. Make information easy to find. Make the world less confusing. Help people. Simple. Like the best ideas always are. Now you might wonder, little one, there were other companies trying similar things. Why did Google become the one everyone chose? Grandpa has thought about this for a long time, and he thinks it comes down to something very small. Trust. When you typed a question into Google, you trusted that it was trying to give you the best answer, not a paid answer, not an answer that benefited someone else. The best answer. And for a long time, that trust was earned. Every single day, one search at a time. There is a lesson in that, little one, that Grandpa thinks is worth carrying with you into sleep. The things that last are not always the loudest, not always the most dazzling, not always the ones that shout the hardest for attention. Sometimes the thing that lasts is simply the thing that keeps showing up and keeps doing what it said it would do, until eventually people cannot imagine the world without it. Google kept showing up. Every time you had a question, it was there. Quiet, helpful, ready. Like a very good friend who never makes you feel foolish for not knowing something. And so, little one, from a borrowed computer in a university room, to a cold-floored garage in California, to an office full of color and clever people, to a presence in almost every home on Earth, Google grew. Not through force, not through shouting, not by pushing anyone aside, but by being useful, by being trustworthy, by asking every single day, how can we help someone find what they are looking for? And that is a rather beautiful way to build something, isn't it? Two young men who argued about everything found the one thing they agreed on. That information should be free and easy to find and available to everyone, not just the wealthy, not just the educated, not just the people with access to great libraries. Everyone. And they built it quietly, stubbornly, one search at a time. Tonight, little one, you do not need to search for anything. Everything you need right now is already here. The warmth of the blanket, the dark of the room, the slow and easy rhythm of your breath. No questions need answering tonight. Every question can wait until morning. And in the morning, if you need an answer, you know exactly where to find one. Ha ha. Sleep now, little one. The search is over for tonight. Everything has been found. Good night. Good night. Good night.